right, you shall not bow down to them or serve them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children to the third and the fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing steadfast love to thousands of those who love me and keep my commandments.
I want to say something quickly. I find it very ironic when Muslims refer to Zoroastrians. Like in the past, I heard this quite often. It is also mentioned in some Islamic books, also in the translations of certain hadith. Zoroastrians or Magians are often referred to as fire worshippers. But if you think about it, Zoroastrians don't actually worship fire. They only use fire as a means to worship the truth or worship God. So they basically do the same thing that Muslims do with the Kaaba. Muslims don't worship the Kaaba, they just bow towards the Kaaba or venerate the Kaaba and do that in order to worship God. And Zoroastrians, venerate fire and bow towards fire in order to worship their God. But so many Muslims, including Muslim scriptures, refer to Zoroastrians as fire worshippers in a derogatory way. Shouldn't then, by the same logic, Muslims be the rock worshippers or Kaaba worshippers?
100%, yeah. And by the way, I didn't add that point because I was just focused on the black stone, but I think we need to add this too, Dave, for the sake of the Christians here who may not know. Even the Kaaba, when they face the Kaaba, as AP has been saying it, I don't know if you've been catching it, he's not just referring to the black stone, but the Kaaba structure itself. When Muslims bow towards the Kaaba, that's idolatry itself. Now, I've heard the objections by the Muslims saying, well, hold on. The Jews in the Old Testament would face the temple in Jerusalem and bow to it. Now, let me explain the difference. And Christians, this is not being inconsistent or duplicitous. It's being consistent with what the Bible says about the temple. So write these verses down, because we're not going to look at them, but just write these references down. 1 Kings chapter 8, verses 12 to 13. 1 Kings chapter 8, verses 12 to 13. Read the entire chapter. And then you go to 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verses 1 to 2. 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verses 1 to 2. And read the entire chapter. And then 2 Chronicles 7, verse 12 and verse 14. 2 Chronicles 7, verse 12, 14. Read the entire chapter. God says that I will dwell in the temple in a unique way. So whether you're an atheist or not, it's irrelevant to at least what the text says. The text is saying the God of Israel is going to localize his presence in a unique way, in a real way, so that he's truly present in the temple, though he's not bound to it. This is confirmed by Jesus in Matthew 23:21, where he says, if you swear by the temple, you not only swear by the temple, but you swear by him who lives in it, who dwells therein. So when the Jews are bowing to the temple, it's not the temple. It's because they take God at his word. They believe God when he says, my name dwells here. My presence is here in a unique way, in a localized way, without being bound to it, because he's still in heaven, while his presence is in the temple. So they're bowing to the God who lives in the temple. But I do not know of a single Muslim, and there are Muslims here listening, who would say Allah dwells in the Kaaba, that Allah's presence is in the Kaaba in a unique way as he's above the seven heavens. So when we bow to the Kaaba, we're bowing to Allah. So with that said, the Kaaba is devoid of Allah. Allah doesn't dwell there. So why in the world are you bowing to that building? That's idolatry too.
That deserves a whole video topic, a whole complete analysis. It's really important.
Yeah, guys, do you understand the significance of the point here? We brought it up in various contexts, but Muslims around the world all pray facing this cube, which just so happens to be the same cube that the pagans of Mecca bowed down, right? The same black stone that Muslims go and kiss and smooch is the same black stone that the pagans of Mecca, the same environment that Muhammad grew up in. It's the same one, right? But you ask, hey, Muslims, why are you bowing down to this cube, and why are you smooching this black stone? Oh, because Muhammad did it. Muhammad did it. We're doing it because Muhammad did it. Well, why, if Islam is really the religion of pure monotheism and devoid of idolatry, why would your prophet tell you to bow down to this cube that was a pagan shrine and to smooch this black stone, which is supposedly conscious and is going to intercede for you and so on? Why all of this stuff that looks like idolatry? We just needed a direction of prayer. And that's amazing. If I went to any Muslim and I showed them, look, here's a picture of, darn, I'm getting an idea now. I should do this, right? I should take a picture of Muslims worshiping at the Kaaba, replace the Kaaba with this cup, and say, would you consider this idolatry? If everyone was bowing down to this, and they just said, oh, well, our prophet said to do it, and we need a direction of prayer, so that's the only reason we're doing that. If everyone is bowing down to this bottle cap, right? Wouldn't you think there's a problem? Why? Why? Why are you bowing down to that thing? To that thing? You claim to be the religion that's free from idolatry and so on. And from all outside appearances, Islam seems like the most idolatrous religion in the history of humanity. It's constant, over and over and over again throughout the day, bowing down to a big pagan cube.
That is so funny. I haven't actually thought this deeply about a certain matter. I mean, I talked in the past about the Kaaba and about how, according to the Sirah and even according to the Quran, not in complete detail in the Quran, but we know that Muslims, according to the early biographies, at first prayed toward Jerusalem as the Jews do. So they imitated what the Jews are doing. I don't know if you've just mentioned these details, Sam. But they did what Jews were doing because Jews were doing it and because Jews were monotheists. But Jews were just doing this because, as you said, for them that has actually value. They are actually praying toward, the house. They're actually praying toward the location of God, the representation of God. And Muhammad and his people supposedly did that temporarily for a while. But then Muhammad was so upset by Jews mocking him that he turned around and started praying toward the Kaaba, toward Mecca, which was then even announced in the Quran, where the Quran says that Allah now wants Muhammad to pray toward Mecca, where he always wanted to pray to, and that the former direction, so praying toward Jerusalem, was only to test who are the true believers. So what Muhammad does is that he actually adopts the concept of praying toward a location of God as the Jews did, but then Islam turns it around and prays toward Mecca, which completely rejects such a notion that Allah has a house and a location. So, so the point this needs to be summarized and analyzed. I would actually love to make a video on this. He adopts the system, but then does it in a different way, and then completely rejects the entire concept because he doesn't know why Jews pray toward that direction to begin with.
He forgot.
He forget.
That's like his God. All right.